What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to another mock draft video. Today, we're back on Bleacher Report. I'm always excited to come on to Bleacher Report. The last mock draft video I did one of my own. I'm kind of trying to alternate between the two because I think it's important for us to see, like, hey, what's kind of the media saying, so that you're just not getting all AVC all the time. You want to hear multiple opinions from everybody at any possible time. So I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of both. So excited to go into this. Apparently, there's some trades. They've done a lottery system in this, and they've tried to make the picks somewhat accurate, so really curious to jump into that. But before we do that, hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Please go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA series. These videos get demonetized all the time. It's really, really frustrating. They don't deserve to be, but YouTube's going to keep doing it. So please go give them a watch, because if they keep getting views, then I'll keep showing them. At the time of recording this, it's 5-5. So there's definitely quite a few more of these to go watch. And the other thing you should go watch is Ideal Offseason. By far the biggest series on my channel. They're a ton of fun. I think I'm really the only YouTuber doing like fine-tuned content like that. So I think it's a cool thing to go watch. But anyway, let's get into the mock draft. Alrighty, Bleacher Report, what do you got for me? So apparently they've done a lottery with this, and there's a Giannis trade for a Houston first rounder. That already kind of makes a little bit of sense. I can see how that would happen. So I'm curious to go into this. Let's get to the first part. Who got the first pick in this? That's what I'm kind of curious about. We know it's going to be Cooper Flagg, but who got it here? And it's the Charlotte Hornets. He's staying in the Carolinas for this one. Wow. I don't think I need to explain to you how good Cooper Flagg is at this point. I think we understand he's the top guy, right? The Scottie Pippen comparison is actually pretty interesting. I don't mind that comparison at all. The other one I've been kind of using is like Kevin Garnett in some ways, but like maybe a little bit more coordinated putting the ball on the floor. Well, definitely a little bit more coordinated putting the ball on the floor, but Cooper Flagg's awesome. Not only is he young for even coming into the draft, but he can do a little bit of everything. His defensive instincts are elite. I think the defensive end of the court is honestly where he'll shine more than anything right away. But the ball handling, the size, the athleticism, and a much improved jumper by the end of the season. This guy is an all NBA level talent. Something I should give you guys some perspective of where I'm at in terms of my draft evaluation process. I'm doing a lot of deep dives on people right now with the team that I'm currently working for, whether it's sitting down with some international scouts, some other local ones, and we're just kind of going through, making reports on people. We all have our own notes and everything. I'm through most of first round people. At this point, there's a couple stragglers that I'm still needing to do, but then once I get to do like second round workouts and stuff, and I get to see some people in person, that's when I'll start going into more film on like those more specific people that I get curious about. And so just so you guys know where I'm kind of at in that process. So I've got a pretty good understanding of these guys at this point. I've got my opinions formed in a lot of ways on the first round talent, so just something to give you guys a little bit of perspective. But yeah, Cooper Flagg, awesome. The Sixers jump up to the second pick and take Dylan Harper. I don't see that. I think they would trade down if that were to happen. They don't need another ball handler. They don't. Did they try to make these guys fit in here? Some of these prospects will eventually become stars, blah, 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 blah. New fortune. This would mean Giannis, blah, 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 blah. Utah Jazz, whatever. Okay, I don't give a shit. So it looks like I'm going to have to assume they tried to make people fit in certain places, but this doesn't make any sense. Obviously, with Tyrese Maxey being there, Jared McCain being another guy that has the ball a little bit, you're not adding another guard to this. You would probably pick Ace Bailey in this situation. But Dylan Harper, what do we always say? He's big Jalen Brunson. Totally makes sense. Like 6'6", 220-pound true freshman, was an absolute bucket at Rutgers this year. Both him and Ace were. They were the only two semi-talented players on the team. Really, I can't believe that Rutgers couldn't find a better way to supply these guys with talent. I can't believe that we didn't get to see these guys in March Madness. Something to keep in mind when you're looking at Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey film. I see some people critiquing the shot selection of these dudes sometimes, or this or that. Rutgers was not very good, y'all. They weren't very well coached, and they just didn't have very good players around them. There was only so much these two could do. Everybody knew that they were the ones taking all the shots. College basketball's tough enough as it is. Get some real talent around these guys. They're going to be awesome. I think day one, this guy's starting point guard can come in. I think he's going to be able to get buckets at any level of basketball you put him at. He's got so many moves he can go to. I really think he's going to be an impressive player. Another guy that I'm saying all NBA level talent. And mind you, this is an elite draft class, and I'm extremely picky with people. Extremely. That's my job, right? It's my job to be extremely picky. Last year, I was like, I don't see any star talent here. I don't see any of it. I was like, hey, to John Salon, I'm like, I think with a lot of work, he's got potential to get to like the highest level in that class. I'm like, but it's gonna be hard. But I was like, I don't really see stars otherwise. So like, I can be rough. I'll tell you if there's nobody that I see. Hell, I didn't even put 60 people on a big board last year. This year, 2 all NBA type guys already that I'm saying, like all-star, all-NBA good. I think that they can be that down the line. So something to keep in mind. Number 3, the Washington Wizards. They get Ace Bailey. I think they'd be thrilled with Ace Bailey right here. Ace is my favorite prospect in the class. I think he's got the highest ceiling of anybody in the class, and it's because the offensive game is so well refined already. And I know, some of the jumpers aren't that good. Guess what, dum-dums? You can just tell them to take different jump shots. I just don't want to hear that argument. I think it's a silly argument. And they'll be like, oh, the playmaking or whatever. I guarantee you, if you're saying that you haven't actually watched the film, he sees the court actually pretty dang well overall, and his teammates just aren't very good. There's no spacing on that court at all. None of it made any sense. Like, put him on an actual team with actual players. I think he's going to be just fine, especially when you keep in mind, like, prospects, when they come into the league, if you're a 19, 20, 21-year-old guy, stop expecting people to be all-stars at that age. It's not realistic. Like, there's so few people that can actually achieve that. Like, there's a reason that guys don't start winning championships until they're 26, 27 years old. It's just how it is. Development takes a while, but I think Ace also has all NBA talent. I really, really do. The athleticism with the shooting and the defensive energy that he plays with, I think it's awesome. If you ask most NBA guys, they'll tell you they think Ace will probably be the best out of them long term, but again, depends on where you end up. If it's Washington, we're not always so sure. And then let's move on. The other of the big 4, the New Orleans Pelicans get the 4th pick, and they get VJ Edgecombe. I think you'd feel pretty good about that. The Victor Oladipo comparison is pretty interesting. I liken him to kind of an Anthony Edwards type. Extremely athletic, like 10.5 out of 10 athleticism. The Thompson twins are our 11 out of 10 is what we always say. The jump shot has been good in 2 different settings now. It was good in the Olympics, and it was good in college. It started out a little rough in college, but it ended out really good. So I feel pretty good about that. Like, he made a lot of big-time defensive plays. He was in passing lanes. He was blocking shots, getting steals. I wouldn't say, as the kids say, the bag isn't extremely deep. A lot of his offense right now is just catching and being like, okay, guess what? I'm strong and super athletic, so I'm going to get right by you and kind of just go over you and finish, which is fine. Like, that's what we expect out of young players. I'm not going to trip about that whatsoever, but we're going to have to work on it a little bit, and that's fine. That's totally fine. We can teach that. We've got so many trainers out there that can teach you all the ball handling moves that you want. That can be some summer stuff that we work on. It's going to be great. So VJ Edgecombe, elite talent. I'm so glad to see him up here because we called very early on when he was not mocked nearly this high. I'm like, nah, VJ Edgecombe's that dude, and I've only fallen in love with him more. So awesome. I think he'd fit with New Orleans. Number 5, Utah Jazz, Jeremiah Fears. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I don't think this is who the Jazz would take with this pick. I think they would go more so a wing. And yes, it would be disastrous if they fell out of the top 4 because they have been setting themselves up for this draft in particular to get a top 4 talent. Like, there's no doubt about that. Utah, good place to go develop. Jeremiah Fears, a very, very raw prospect. The Jamal Murray comparison, I don't really like. I liken him to a Spencer Dinwiddie more so because he's a little bit bigger of a guard, right? Like more so around like the 6'4" range, not quite the 6'6" that Spencer Dinwiddie is, but he's got a really good like isolation handle to him. Like, he's got that ball on a string. He's good in isolation. He can go get a shot. The 3-point shot kind of comes and goes with him right now. The form looked pretty good overall when we've watched it, and I've done some pretty extensive deep dives on him. The thing is, like, earlier in the year, people were like, oh, this is like what Russell Westbrook type of guy, right? He's a little bit younger. But I don't see that level of athleticism out of him. I don't see lightning quickness. I see good handle and a decent first step at times, but I don't see lightning speed. I don't see crazy vertical or anything, so I didn't really understand that comparison. But I think if you're looking for a guy that has the potential to go be like a big-time scorer in the NBA, this is a decent way to go. I just think they've got other guards that they could mess around with instead, so I might go forward here. But yeah, interesting prospect. I'm not sure I'm taking Jeremiah Fears this high, but I've certainly certainly liked him more the more I've watched him, but I still don't have him up like tremendously high on any of my boards. The Brooklyn Nets take Trey Johnson here. Not a bad option. Not a bad option. I might take a Yakuchonis here instead, but Trey Johnson, I'll tell you, some of my buddies are working him out to get him ready for the combine at the time of recording this, or maybe just a little bit before, and they're like, yo, this dude is putting in the work right now, like absolute workhorse in the gym. He is getting shots up, and they're like, he is the easiest guy to rebound for because he does not miss. And I'll tell you, most of these guys don't miss very often. It's really, really easy to rebound for these guys. But I like Trey Johnson a lot. The comparison I'm going to keep giving him is big Cam Thomas, right? And that's where he's at for right now. And that's because he really doesn't do it much else besides score the basketball. But he is elite at scoring the basketball. It does not matter which direction he's facing, which way he is dribbling, how far away he is from the hoop. He is an absolute bucket. It's all jump shots, too. It's just like, I can shoot it from here, I'll shoot it from here, I'll shoot it from here. And that's valuable, right? You can do stuff like that. What's cool is the extra size on him, right, that he brings. Gives you a little bit more potential on the defensive end than like a Cam Thomas or these like only offensive type players that typically come at the guard position. I do think there's more potential to pull out of him. I think early on in his career, what's going to be best for him is if he just comes off the bench for somebody and you just let him do what he's done his whole career, which is just go get buckets, and you say, all right, you're super six man. Like if a Philly got him or something, I think that'd be kind of cool since they're trying to contend, and you just say, hey, Trey, when you get in the game, go do you, dude. And he's going to be like, all right, cool, because, man, I see people coming up to set screens for him, and he's like, you're taking too long. Fuck it, I'm going to chuck this thing up, and he'll just drain it, right? So awesome talent in that department. I think he's going to have to develop a lot more in terms of more of the intangibles of basketball, but he's an interesting talent nonetheless. If you got a 6'6" to 6'7" dude that can shoot like that, you can have a role in the NBA, man. You really, really can. So really cool. The Toronto Raptors, Knipple. I don't see this one at all. The Toronto... see, this is starting to make me think that they just really didn't try for fits on this whatsoever. But what would be the point of doing a mock draft otherwise? Bleacher Report. I don't understand. They've got so many forwards on this team already. There's no way they don't take like a model watch here. There's no way. But anyway, let's talk Knipple. I like Knipple. He's your stereotypical like high floor, low ceiling type of guy coming in very, very smart, can shoot the shit out of the basketball. I'd say probably top 3 shooter coming into this draft. Started off a little bit slow at Duke, and then he really got hot and got going. I like the defensive intensity of him. I think that could lend to him being more valuable in the NBA than your typical, like, oh, this is your white guy wing that just comes off of floppy actions and pin downs and hits 3-pointers, right, in space of the floor, sits in the corner, things like that. I don't think he's going to put the ball on the floor incredibly well. If not, it's going to be a couple of years maybe before we can do that and kind of like catch and rip and go towards the hoop and feel like, okay, yeah, well, like he can keep the offense going, right? But I think the energy that he plays with in the shooting is going to be valuable to somebody. I just don't think it's the Toronto Raptors in this case. The Cam Johnson comparison, not sure I see that. That's kind of a weird one to me. San Antonio Spurs, Jace Richardson. No, they can't be trying with this. There's no way. They don't need another guard here. They need a forward on this team and potentially a big. They do not need any more guards on this team. Jace Richardson, he's an interesting prospect, right? The Derek White comparison is kind of interesting because he's a shooting guard, but he's a smaller shooting guard. He's only about 6'3", maybe 6'2", right? He doesn't really play the point guard because, like, the handle isn't quite there. He's not much of a playmaker at all. He's not the most athletic guy ever. He didn't get any of his dad's real athleticism. You're not seeing him dunk on anybody. He's not quick. Honestly, he doesn't really have much of a right hand either because I'm pretty sure he's the lefty, right? Pretty sure he's a lefty. He's not good at using his offhand whatsoever. He takes really bad shots because of it at times. But this guy is pretty good at getting himself open without the basketball, and he's pretty good at shooting once he does do that, right? Defensively, he's limited because of size, and that's just what it's going to be, but overall, like, he seems to know where to be at all times. Typical NBA kid, right? Like, he knows what he's doing for the most part out there, which is cool. I'm always going to struggle with a guy that's in between positions like this, like a combo guard that can't really put the ball on the floor. Who are you going to guard defensively for me? I just have a lot of questions. Like, you're not quick. You're not very big. I'm like, I just don't know what to do with a player like that. Like, you have to be so good offensively to warrant me wanting to put you on the basketball court then. So I don't have Jace Richardson this high, but I hope you guys know I'm rooting for all these guys. I want all of them to find success unless they give me reason to not root for them. All right, so here's the trade. Here's the trade. The Milwaukee Bucks acquire the 9th pick from the Toronto Raptors. Makes a ton of sense just because, or from the Toronto Raptors, from the Houston Rockets, excuse me. The Rockets do not need any more young guys. They have so many young guys. They were the 2nd seed this year. They just got bounced last night at the time of me recording this. They need to go find that option 1A, right? Because they've got kind of everything else going for them out there. And so they just don't need another project. They need to start getting some guys out there and getting rid of projects that just aren't worth their time at this point. So in this, the Bucks are taking Derek Queen at 9. Okay, I'm glad to see he's not like top 5 anymore. I never understood that completely. And again, who knows what these Bleacher Report people know, but the trade itself is the number 9 pick, sure. Jalen Green, sure. Jabari Smith Jr., sure. Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore. Yeah, those are probably the dudes you give up. You hold on to all the important guys like Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, obviously Şengün, Tari Eason. These are all the projects you don't need anymore, right? Jalen Green, AVC was correct about him. Jabari Smith Jr., I don't know if I was wrong about him as much as I'm just kind of like, meh, right? Because I never thought he was going to be that good. AVC was right about Reed Shepherd so far. Cam Whitmore, yeah, I was right about that one so far too. But, and then 2 first-round picks. I could see that in a Giannis trade. I really, really could. Bucks get a bunch of young guys right away that they can kind of mess around with. And putting Derek Queen on that team is interesting because, like, he is kind of the Şengün type guy where he's very old-fashioned. He's not the most athletic in the world. Can kind of put the ball on the floor a little bit. Kind of needs the ball to operate as well. So if you're adding all these guys from the Rockets to this team, Derek Queen isn't the worst thought because they know how to play with a guy like this. And the biggest thing with Queen is how do you build a team around him of people that kind of know how to play with his very specific play style. So I don't hate that. I mean, if Maluak is on the board still at this point, I would take him over Queen personally, but I can understand the logic with this at the very least. So respect. That's a pretty interesting deal. You compare him to Boris Diaw, so we're getting more so into power forward territory. Interesting. The Portland Trailblazers, Carter Bryant out of Arizona. The Trevor Ariza comparison is a pretty cool one. I can totally see that. So here's the thing with Carter Bryant. I recently put out a video on him. That video's been doing pretty well, actually. Oh my gosh, why did it go all the way back up here? But Carter Bryant's a bit of a mystery man in this draft, right? Because the rumors of like, oh yeah, this guy could be like a lottery pick or something like that kind of surfaced around the middle of the college season, and we're like, okay, who is this guy? He doesn't really start for them. He only scores about 6 points a game, but everybody's looking at him and they're like, no, this is an NBA talent. He's just kind of behind a lot of better players. And we went and watched the film on him, and we've got like a 6'8", like 220, 225 pound true freshman that is extremely athletic. Like, he's really, really athletic, and he shoots the ball really well. We went and broke it down. He looks pretty good. I've since done a little bit more of a deep dive on him. I still feel pretty good about him. Like, he's not really doing much with the basketball right now. Defensively, he makes a lot of mistakes, but he also makes a lot of big defensive plays because he's so athletic. So we have a while to go in terms of learning, but in terms of just like good athlete, knows where to be at all times on the court offensively and can shoot the ball pretty well at 6'8", like that's kind of what you're looking for. So if you're looking for more of like a home run type swing, this isn't a bad way to go. Portland, yeah, I don't hate that. Like, I think that is probably the position to need. Maybe you want to take more of a swing. I wouldn't be mad if Portland went and found someone that could help out all the other projects that they have on the team a little bit more, but I'm sure Portland fans would be happy about this because every fan base is going to be like, oh, but the potential on him, right? And they're going to fall in love and marinate themselves over it. So there you go. The Dallas Mavericks, come on, Maluak. There's no way if Yaku Chonis is on the board that they don't take him. There's no way. They need a point guard so bad. They just didn't try with this mock draft. There's no way that they did, because that's just... they're just not using any brain cells with this. But yeah, let's talk about Maluak. Extremely raw. Hasn't been playing basketball for very long, but he's like 7'2". He's huge, and he seems pretty smart, right? He's another one of those benefits to the African basketball academies that are moving guys over there that Luol Deng's a big part of. Keeps finding these studs, right? Just hasn't played basketball for very long. Has a lot to learn still, but overall, nice player. I don't want to see any comments of people being like, oh, did you see that game? He had 0 rebounds and just shut up. I just don't care. It's one basketball game. Just shut up. But anyway, by the way, if I can do a word of the video, I'm not doing one in every video nowadays, but to see who's actually listening, let's use the word rebound somewhere in there. Just put it into your comments so I know that you're a real one, right? No, I like Maluach. I don't know if he's starting center day one material, but I could see it by the end of the season, like if you really needed to. Like, I think he's going to pick things up quickly. He seems really, really smart. He's incredibly talented. He's going to be a rim running threat for forever. He's going to block a lot of shots. I'm excited to see him get into a role where he can really thrive with somebody. And my Chicago Bulls draft another point guard, because of course, yeah, no, they're not trying whatsoever. These two picks would swap 100%. Giannis here. No, the Bulls do not need any more point guards, but considering the Bulls are just never going to be relevant, I am on team all point guards for the Chicago Bulls. Like, let's make it happen. Let's have 2 Josh Giddeys on the team. Who did they compare Giannis to? Bogdan Bogdanovic. Who? What? Have y'all actually watched this guy play? No, relax. Giannis, best playmaker in this class, right? I think he's a day one starter in the NBA because I think defensively he's going to be just fine. He has elite playmaking vision, and he's got enough offense to him where I feel like he's not gonna like stick out too much right away. He's got the step back down. He's a good cutter. He's got enough like in his first step quickness and his jabs to kind of create some separation. I believe in the jump shot. I think it's going to be fine. So I think you've got a really good prospect here. Depending on where he goes, like if he went to a Dallas, I could see him starting day one because I need someone like that. But yeah, this guy can be a starter in the NBA for a long time because he is just so smart. He's a little bit young for this class as well. Really looking forward to seeing Giannis at the NBA level. I still have him at number 5 on my board, just out of FYI. Maybe that gives a little bit of perspective. Number 13, the Atlanta Hawks take Nolan Traore. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't mind Traore, and I think that this could be a good pick because I think that they could use another ball handling guard on this team. One of the things you like about him is that he really understands how to play like modern basketball already. Really good pick and roll navigation, really good at kind of running the show offensively. Doesn't do a ton without the basketball. The jumper, we saw some of the problems with it. A lot of the field goal percentage numbers were pretty rough for him, but honestly, like, he's getting to his spots. He's just not finishing completely, and he is playing in a grown man's league over there, and he's pretty young, so I'd like to think he gets a little stronger, he finishes a little better, that you could have a nice prospect, because the athleticism's there. Dude's really quick, and he's a really good passer, so I like him. I think he's a cool prospect. I don't think he's starter day one material, but you'll get at least a smart basketball player that's kind of ready to go day one. So a lot of great prospects here. All right, why does it keep going up? Stop doing that. But yeah, I like him. And then San Antonio Spurs, Colin Murray Boyles here at 14, CMB. I did my film breakdown of him, and I've watched some more. I don't think there's anything that interesting here necessarily. They're comparing him to Paul Millsap now, which is an interesting thing because it's kind of been a Julius Randle thing for most of the season. And in all fairness, Julius Randle was much more athletic than he was. But you've got kind of an undersized 4 that likes to play with his back to the basket. He's a pretty good passer out of the post, which is cool, right? We like stuff like that. Can't shoot worth a lick. Makes some pretty good athletic plays at times, but so many of his buckets is just taking advantage of dumb people, right? Which is a big part of things, but like, he's not going to be able to do any of that at the NBA level. It's people throwing the ball over the top to him. It's him just like posting up in certain ways where he can just go get the basketball really easy and throw the ball up and in. And so I personally just didn't see much that says like, okay, yeah, I want to invest a lot of time into developing this. Like, don't get me wrong, he's very gifted with like some of his vision, but he doesn't do really much when he doesn't have the basketball, and if he's not gonna shoot, I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't feel great about this prospect personally, but I hope he finds a good home and somewhere that can help him thrive. I'm not sure San Antonio's it, because I feel like you just have a better version of it in Jeremy Sohan. So again, I don't really like a lot of these fits that they're drawing up for things. But alrighty, that's the lottery. So I'm gonna move a little bit faster now that we're kind of out of the lottery with things. Noah Senge here. We did a video on him. Again, go watch these videos here. It's a lot of fun. Senge, He's so raw. Like, I don't know exactly what he's all that great at. He's like okay at a lot of things. He's got good size, a decent athlete. His hands are rough, man. I watch more film. Dude cannot catch or like pass worth a lick right now, and that's okay. We can develop into it. Jump shot's a little bit iffy. Some of the finishing a little bit iffy as well. He needs to get bigger, stronger, right? Like every young player, sure. But when you have a wing that's this size, like 6'8", 6'9", he can move pretty well. You're always going to be interested in him, right? So if it's OKC and they can take the time to develop him, cool. I don't hate that at all. Liam McNeely, probably a pretty low ceiling type of guy here. Projects to be a pretty good shooter, maybe a solid rebounder in the NBA. Athleticism's not quite there. Can't really put the ball on the floor right now. The biggest problem is he's supposed to be a shooter. Like, that's his whole thing. And he shot it really poorly in college this year. When I look at his form, it looks really good, so I'm not like overly concerned about it, as long as there's not some sort of mental block causing him from being a good shooter. But I don't know what else he's going to bring outside of just being like a thicker body that can hit some threes. So I see kind of the Georges Niang type of build here. Asa Newell, I'm sad that he's dropping, man. I like Asa Newell a lot. I think we saw what he's best at this year, which is like being a run, jump, and dunk threat. He's not a power forward. I'm going to keep telling people that. He just had to play power forward at Georgia. He is a center. They just played two centers. Get that into your heads, right? He is a center. He's like 6'11", shot blocking, rim running center. That's what he is. But what's interesting is we saw a little bit of ball handling, and we saw a little bit of the pick and pop, and it actually went pretty well when he was doing that. So it's like, okay, are we going to let you do that at the NBA level right away? Probably not. But I think there's enough there to be like, we could maybe get a pretty dynamic starting center out of you at some point. So I like the Derek Lively comparison a lot to him. And that's kind of what I'd want to get out of a player like this. So I like Asa Newell. I do. Yegor Demean. We watched the video on him. Really, really smart prospect. Can do a little bit of everything with the basketball. He's really coordinated with both his right and left hand. The jumper, we're maybe a little bit worried about. He needs to get a lot bigger and stronger. It's going to take some time for him to develop and turn into something. If the Wizards want to use another first on a project, it's not a bad project to try to go find these bigger ball handlers. That's kind of cool, but I don't know. By the way, the fit of Minnesota taking him would be kind of cool if they were getting rid of another big. So Yegor, you're just gonna have to be patient with. The Brooklyn Nets taking Ben Seraph. Yeah, one of the takeaways that I have about Ben Seraph is he's really good at the first like 2-3 steps of running an offense, and he's really, really bad at steps like 4 through 10 of running an offense, right? He's kind of a poor decision maker right now. Takes a lot of bad shots. Again, and those can be corrected. I don't necessarily understand why he settles for a lot of the ones that he does, because he has other openings, and sometimes his passes aren't the most accurate. They aren't quite on time. He is looking to make plays, which is good. I just think it's going to take a little bit to get it out of him. He's a solid enough athlete, and 6'6", can put the ball on the floor a little bit. There's something to be interested in there. I just think it's going to take a little bit of rewiring to kind of make it work. And I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with him positionally long-term, because I just don't see him doing much without the basketball. So we'll see. He's a project, and that's what you're getting with like the 19th pick, right? You're going to get some projects. And he's a worthwhile project to take on, especially if you're Brooklyn. You have like 4 firsts. Miami Heat, Rasheer Fleming. Miami Heat fans rejoice. I think Rasheer Fleming is the one that every standard NBA fan is going to be wanting if you're pick like 18 and below, right? Just because you're like, okay, 6'9" guy, jump very high, play very hard, shoot ball very well. That sounds great, right? And yeah, like I like Rasheer Fleming a lot. I really do. He's a little bit older coming in, right? But he shot the shit out of the basketball, even though the form is a little bit wonky. The ball went in. He dunks the ball a ton. He plays with a lot of good help defensive IQ. Sounds great. Like, I'm down for that. Big physical dude. Cool. That's all you really need to know about him. I like Rasheer Fleming, and if you're the Heat and you got that, cool. Hugo Gonzalez, a guy I have not done my deep dive on yet. I need to sit down with some of the international scouts that know more about him before I do that. I'm always hesitant with prospects like this, because I just remember, and this was before I was like contracted to do any sort of work, I just remember doing by myself, like, I think it was high school, or maybe it was even middle school, and Mario Hezonja was coming in, and I used to make myself little scouting reports. So it's kind of funny that I actually got to do that professionally at some point. But I remember being like, oh, Mario Hezonja is going to be this dude. Like, he's going to be this dude. And then he just was not. And I see so much of him in Hugo Gonzalez, and I want that to still come true, but I'm so scared of him. I'm so scared. So I don't know. Utah taking him? Sure, why not? Don't care. Neat Clifford. I liked Neat Clifford a lot. At the time of recording this, it's not on the channel, but you will have seen a Neat Clifford video, I believe, by now. I like Neat Clifford. He rebounds really, really well. He's not the most athletic, but he's a really good passer. He's got his jumper pretty well down. And he can do a little bit of everything. So I like Neat Clifford. I think he'll be a good utility belt player for someone. I actually like the Josh Hart comparison a ton. So yeah, that could be a good guy to pick here. Danny Wolf, a guy that I like a lot. Obviously, the coordination at 7 foot is crazy. The jumper, looking pretty good. The passing, pretty high level. Are there times where, yes, he starts driving to the hoop and he doesn't know completely where he's going? Sure, but you can't deny that level of coordination and passing. And, like, he can be the pick-and-roll ball handler at times, which is nuts. And I'm not saying he's going to get to do that in the NBA right away, but I think somebody should take a flyer on this guy, and he's really going to impress some people. So I like Danny Wolf. I think he's a bit of a sleeper. If this thing raises up one more time, I am going to lose my damn mind. Joan Beringer here. Basically, center that's like 6'11", that blocks a lot of shots. It doesn't look like we're seeing much out of him, but if you can get a big man late in the draft that can do stuff like that, that could prove really valuable to you. Especially if you're OKC, you could probably use another big. Shout out OKC for still having all these draft picks. It's just insane. It's just insane. Orlando Magic, Cam Jones, considering who's available, probably not a bad pick for them. Cam Jones looks like the typical senior level guy coming into the NBA. Should be a pretty solid scorer and defender. He's got some nice size on him at like 6'5", can play the 1 or the 2. I see him a lot like what's the guy's name for Sheed, Jamal Sheed or whatever, however you say the name. I kind of see him as a bit of that this year. Like, should be able to come in and play spot minutes if necessary for somebody this year. Could turn into a nice bench offensive player for somebody. So I like Cam Jones. Thomas Sorber, not surprised to see him dropping a little bit. I don't see the high-level defense that a lot of people have talked about with him throughout the years, and that's why I've kept him a little bit lower in my videos on things. And again, I'm not surprised to see him dropping a little bit. The foot injury's scary, but this is a really young, really raw guy that still needs to grow into his body, that doesn't make really any defensive mistakes. I also just don't see the high-level defense that people are hoping to get out of him. The jumper came and went at points this year, so I guess we'll see. He's going to be a raw guy that's worth taking a flyer on because he's got really good size for his age. So, cool. LeBaron Philon, or Philon, I think it's Philon. I'm pretty sure it is. Kind of the Anthony Black of this draft. Not doing a ton, like, shooting-wise or anything like that, but pretty good defender, pretty good ball handler, pretty good passer. Going to take a little bit to make him really worth being put on the basketball court, but I think an interesting prospect nonetheless. Noah Penda, a guy I still have to do a little bit more homework on myself, but he gets like a Nicholas Batum rap because he's like 6'8" and can shoot a little bit, right? Again, him and who was it? The Spanish guy, I can't remember. Hugo. Those are two guys that I'm watching with some international scouts soon, so gotta do some more homework on them. Walter Clayton Jr. I think he should probably be a little bit higher on here. We did the video on Walter Clayton. I like him a lot. I love the pace that he plays with. He's such a good shooter. I think he's a smart playmaker as well. I think he's a guy you could take in like the early 20s if you wanted to. You could convince me late teens with this guy, and you could probably have a backup point guard day one in the NBA. I just think he's kind of got all the things needed to come be like at least solid at an NBA level right now. I don't know how high the potential is necessarily, but overall, I think he'd be good right away. I love the Peyton Pritchard comparison. I think that's a great one. Yaxel Lendeborg. Word on the street is that he's going to be going to Michigan next year. I know he's got quite the NIL bag there, and like I don't see him moving up in the draft. Like he's gonna do the combine or whatever. I don't see him going high enough to where it's not gonna be worth going back to college. So I don't know. I think that's the case here, and that's it. It's just the first round for this one. I don't hate that because a lot of second round really gets determined during the pre-draft workouts phase of things more than anything else. So no surprise to see that there. But as always, I like to do these every 2 weeks, kind of keep you guys up to date. Bleacher Report, they clearly aren't putting guys on teams that make any actual sense, so we'll try not to judge them too hard for this, but it's cool to see where like the media is kind of saying like, oh hey, where are people kind of being placed at this point in time. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching as always, and stay tuned for the comment to the video. All right, y'all, comment to the video is coming from the Orlando Magic ideal offseason video here. Please go watch the ideal offseason videos. It's by far and away the most popular series on my channel. I think it's a lot of fun. I think I'm pretty unique on the YouTube space for doing something like that. And then obviously go show the video like you're currently watching, not this one currently, but the Do They Fit in the NBA series videos some love, just because they get demonetized all the time. And that's annoying, but I'm going to keep showing them to you guys if you guys keep showing them love. So there you go. But the comment to the video comes from Afro Trini. Sure, there you go. That profile picture is wild. He said, I was thinking as a Nets fan that the Magic would be interested in taking Cam Johnson for like Goga, Cole Anthony, 25th pick, maybe moving on from Suggs for Simons or something like that. Then he added a nice little, love the vid though, and I've been tuned into you for like a year now. Definitely one of the most insightful basketball channels out there. Thank you for stroking my ego today. I appreciate it greatly. I'm just glad you get some value out of it, man, because I've got a lot of other things I can be, I'll be honest, I got a lot of other things I could do with my day, but I like doing this because I think it's fun. So glad you get some value. I think it's an interesting prospect that you're bringing up here, because I wouldn't mind Cam Johnson on the Magic. I personally think that the Nets are just going to hold on to him because they're not good with him anyway, and he's going to take some pressure off of whoever they take in this year's class. Like, who did they end up taking this year? Was it Trey? Is that who they ended up taking in this? Was Trey Johnson? Sure. So like, he doesn't have to be scoring option number 1 day 1, but I think it's an interesting concept at the very least. But anyway, make sure you guys leave me a comment. As you see, I respond to all of them. I actually have like 7 that I need to get to, so I'll get to those at some point today. But as always, go join the Discord. Links are in the description here. You can get a bunch of cool tools on there, talk to a bunch of cool people. It's a great time. But as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much, and we'll talk later.